Welcome to the Circle Executive Club. I'm today with Matthew Jordan Smith, who's a celebrity fashion and beauty photographer living in Tokyo, Japan. He's an award-winning artist, a Nikon ambassador, a SanDisk Extreme Team ambassador, and an official photographer for the International Olympic Committee. Matthew has photographed celebrities such as Aretha Franklin, Oprah Winfrey, Angela Bassett, Queen Latifah, Tyra Banks, Layla Ali, Mandy Moore, Zendaya, Jeff Goldblum, Christian Slater, Quincy Jones, Samuel L. Jackson, and many others. And his advertising clients include Olay, Pantene, Revlon, Showtime, and HBO. So welcome, Matthew. It's great
Hello,
to
how you
have you.
doing? Good being here. It's very, very good being here. Thank you for having me on.
No, my pleasure. And it's wonderful. You're in Tokyo. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have this wonderful medium. So we were connected by our friend William Nix, who's a Hollywood film producer. He's contributing to the project as well. And I was mesmerized by your career and also your intention of telling the larger story of your relationship with Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
And just briefly, I'm very pleased and honored that both William and you invited me to do some drawings for this project. So I love artists, I love photography. So I'm very intrigued about your life. How did you arrive to this point in
Ah,
time? Yeah.
wow. It's funny. Like, I guess it all began with my father. My father's the one who got me started in photography.
Yeah.
I was born in New York, and at the age of 7, we moved down south to Columbia, South Carolina, not
Oh,
far from
nearby.
from you in North Carolina, yeah, at all.
Yeah.
But at that age, being uh, a kid from New York, I felt out of my space being in the South. I felt I didn't fit in, and my father, seeing that, taught me photography to or opened the door for me to learn photography. Taught me photography, turned the bathroom into a makeshift dark room, and
Right.
it helped me get to know people in a different way. It was my crutch, if you could say, in a
Mhm.
way, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger as I got older, and all through high school, everybody knew me as being the photographer, taking pictures, and went to art school in Atlanta, and then from there, I had a professor say that the best photographers in the world are either in New York or in Europe. That's what he
Mm.
felt at the time. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna move back to New York, and that's what I did,
Yeah.
and started my career as a photo assistant. I worked
Mhm.
for other fashion photographers, and at that point, it just opened the door to show me what was possible. I started
Yeah.
traveling the world as a photo assistant for other photographers, learned the industry, and then started on my own. And at first, I just wanted to do fashion and beauty photography.
Yeah.
And back then, it's like the early 90s, it was just models on the cover of every magazine.
Yeah.
And I was doing a lot of covers of magazines, a lot of beauty work, because that was where I first started my career, shooting a lot of beauty and fashion work. And those covers led to advertising and all kinds of great things. But then it was a shift at that time from being models on covers of magazines to being celebrities on covers of magazines.
Yeah.
And there was one shoot I was doing. Actually, there was a job that came up, and it was Halle Berry. And this
Mhm.
magazine I was shooting for, they had hired a big famous photographer to photograph her.
Mhm.
The day before the shoot, he backed out because he got a big advertising assignment. So the editor called me in a tizzy saying, "Oh, I love the way you shoot your models. We have a situation. Can you come in and photograph Halle Berry?" I'd never shot any celebrity before in my life. And I go in the next day. I'm nervous, it's like, I'm like had a heart going crazy because I was like so like taken with Halle Berry. I mean, every guy was back then for sure.
Yeah.
And I photographed her the same way I photographed the models, which was easy because she's so beautiful. And the magazine loved it.
Mhm.
And they started giving me other celebrities. They gave me Vanessa Williams right after that. Then they gave me who else was after that? There's another celebrity they gave me. And then the fourth one was Oprah. They
Oh,
gave me
wow.
Oprah to shoot,
Yeah.
and that opened the floodgates. And from
Right.
that point on, I've been known as a celebrity photographer that just keeps going.
Yeah.
It was almost by accident that I became a celebrity photographer. Um,
Right. Right. And how did you connect with Aretha Franklin?
that's another great story. So
Yeah.
I did my first book in 2001.
Mm.
The first book was called Sepia Dreams. And for that book, I photographed 50 celebrities and I interviewed them all, talking about how they got started in their career. Then a few years later, I get a call. My agent got a call from Aretha Franklin's office saying that she wanted to hire me. I'm like, oh my God, Aretha Franklin. So I always send flowers to clients before a shoot.
Oh, wow.
Most of my clients are women. So I
Yes.
send flowers to her office, to her, the editors I had, just with a little note saying, here's to a great shoot. Looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah.
I was in New York at the time. She's in Detroit. And the day before the shoot, I get a phone call on my cell phone at the time. And it had private on it. I'm like, who's calling me from this private number? So I answer the phone, and it's Aretha Franklin. And I'm like, oh my God. She's like, no photographer's ever sent me flowers before.
There you
So
go.
we're talking on the phone, and she's talking about the food that we're going to have on the shoot because she's doing the catering for the shoot, food wise. And I hang up the phone when we're done, and I'm like, oh my God, I just talked to Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
And she on the phone this first time, she was so normal. It's like I was talking to an aunt or something. And we get down to the shoot, and I'm photographing her. And I bought my book to give her as a gift, Sepia Dreams, my first book. And she said, why wasn't I in this book? And I said, that
Mm.
was my mistake. I said, but my next book you will be in. And
Mm.
I gave her the book. And, in my mind, I've always wanted to do a book about her or with her.
Yeah.
And, I ended up shooting her for 13 years, and we got very close. And
Yeah.
we talked on the phone a lot. Toward the end, it was not just about photography. At the very beginning, it was about an assignment or shooting together or her ideas.
Yeah.
Toward the end, she just called just to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she passed in 2018.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of 2018, when she was really sick, we were trying to do another shoot before she passed.
Mm.
It never happened. But we
Mm.
talked about the ideas a lot. In January and February, we talked a lot.
Mhm.
Her birthday is March 25th.
Yes.
And I didn't hear from her in March. And I called her on her birthday, left a message, and I got a weird text message back, like she was trying to text me back. And then things went silent for a while. I never talked to her after that again.
Yes.
I got a few text messages from her saying, like, when I get my strength back, we will shoot.
Mhm.
But it never happened. And then
Yes.
in August, she passed away.
Yeah.
But I treasured those calls that last year so much.
Yes. Yeah.
I treasure those calls, like those first calls, like in January and February of 2018. I really treasure, and I'm upset that I didn't do the book while she was alive.
Yes. Yes.
But I guess maybe it just adds to it more by having all these other stories that I have to tell about her. But I want to tell these stories that I have to show this other side. When you think about all that's been done about Aretha Franklin, the movies, the other books, they all deal with a certain time period.
Yeah.
And that time period is before I ever met her. Like they all end before I ever met her.
Right.
So my book is a different point of view. It's the last decade of her life. That's
Yes.
where I knew her. And it's the sometimes the witty, sassy, funny Aretha, um, and the story behind the images. And working with Aretha was different. I've shot a
Mhm.
lot of different artists over my life, career,
Yeah.
and she's the only person in the music industry I've ever photographed who wanted to hear their music. Most people do not want to hear their music.
Wow.
Aretha was different. She only wanted to hear her music.
Yes.
So imagine this, like you're photographing somebody, and I like being close when I'm talking to somebody and photographing them like 4 or 5 feet away is where I'm using my in that range.
Yeah.
So imagine hearing your favorite music by Aretha Franklin in
Yeah.
the background, and she's right in front of you, and you're photographing her.
Yes. Yeah.
That was every shoot.
Yes. Immersion.
Yes,
Completely.
immersion,
Yeah.
immersion, and it was just so wonderful to have those experiences with her,
Yes.
tell the stories, just it's just fantastic. I had a lot of great times with Aretha, and
Yeah.
and I want to share those times with the world so they can also hear her music or hear their favorite music, but hear a behind the scenes story that goes along with that image and have a different appreciation for her and her music all over again.
Yes. Yeah. No, I find it fascinating because I can understand how a story can choose you, how a presence transmits so much, but you're also behind the lens, but it can go beyond the lens. And then there is the timeline. No, I couldn't do it before, but now it's even more important.
Yes,
It's
yes,
maximized. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
so what do you have in mind for the project?
So for this project, I'm doing 2 versions of a book. It's a fine art photography book, but I want to
Mhm.
include the stories because the stories are so important as well. So
Yeah.
along with the book, I have an audio that comes along with it where I
Uh-huh.
tell just the stories of
Yes.
working with her. Um,
Yeah.
and so there's 2 books. There's going to be a standard book. The book is called Aretha Cool.
Yeah.
I'm doing the book on Kickstarter. The
Hmm.
Kickstarter is under Aretha Cool. As a matter of fact, you can just go to arethacool.com and that will take you right to the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So there's a standard edition of the book, and then there's a special edition of the book.
Hmm.
I am raising funds right now to print these books. Um,
Yes.
we're a long way away. Like Kickstarter is all or nothing. So you have to raise what you need to make something, to make the thing you want to make. And
Yes.
with Kickstarter, if you don't hit the goal, you get nothing.
Yeah.
Um, we're now a few days away from ending. We're like 7 days away
Yes.
at the time of this recording anyway.
Yes.
It ends on March 30th,
Hmm.
and we are trying hard to raise funds to make this book come to life.
Yes.
So that second edition of the book is really special. The
Hmm.
second part is a special edition version. And this one will be all the bells and whistles beyond just the photographs that have a lot of special content in the book, physical content that I can put in the book,
Yeah.
because we had a lot of interactions. Um, Aretha, in the very beginning, she's probably the last person I ever met like this, but she loved doing faxes.
Ah.
So I
Mhm.
want to put different elements in the book
Right.
beyond just the photographs. So the special edition will have a lot of special content in it from
Yes.
our interactions to
Yes.
give people a closer feeling of being with Aretha. There
Yeah.
are only 100 special edition books.
Yeah.
I want them to become a collector's item. They're
Hmm.
all numbered and signed. Each book will be numbered 1 through 100 and signed. They come in a special design slipcase. Those
Yes.
are that special edition book. Um, and there are a few available still for that. So
Yeah.
please come in and find any package that you'd like that would help you come closer to Aretha Franklin. The standard book or the special edition book. There's even
Yes.
a package if you want to say buy 10 special edition books. There's a
Hmm.
package for you as well. And I've named each package based on a different Aretha Franklin song.
Yes.
And because I
That's
think
great.
that's the only thing to do is to name each one after a song. So
Yeah.
find that one that's special for you. The special edition is called the Respect Level Pledge.
Hmm.
Um, the the special edition package with 10 special edition books is called uh, 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 Nessun Dorma. Remember when she
Yes.
sung that?
Wow. Yes. Yes.
When it,
Spectacular.
oh, I still get chills even now hearing her sing that. If I go on YouTube and see that performance,
Yeah.
that's the Aretha I knew.
Right, right.
Amazing, could do anything, put her heart and soul into it. And what was really cool about Aretha, and I think about this a lot, she was passionate about music. Even at the end, when she's bedridden,
Mm.
fighting cancer, she's talking about doing another shoot for her next album.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the way I
Always
want to be.
forward,
Yes,
always.
always forward, always thinking
Yeah,
about the art. She loved singing from the depth of her soul.
yeah,
And that's what she wanted to do to the very end. And as an
yeah.
artist, that's what I want to do. To the very end, do what you love doing.
Yes,
That's what art is. So I want to, you know, pay tribute to my friend,
yes.
in every way I can. As a matter of fact, I have a photo exhibit that opens up on her birthday, the 25th,
Oh,
which is a few
excellent.
days from now, here in Tokyo, at
Wow.
the Tokyo Blue Note Place,
Oh, fantastic.
which is an amazing venue. Um,
Yes,
I'm doing a photo exhibit there. I'll show 18 rare, never seen images there at the Blue Note Place, which is in
yeah,
Ebisu in Tokyo. Um, and the Blue Note Place will bring in a DJ each day. The exhibit is up for 7 days.
yeah.
They'll bring in a different DJ every day to play Aretha Franklin music. So
Excellent,
it's a
excellent.
lunchtime event. They'll open from 12 noon each day. From 12 to 4, they'll
Yeah,
be open to just playing Aretha's music. Um, and that'd be wonderful.
outstanding.
Wonderful. Thank you. Then it's funny because there's one other thing that happened once that was announced. There's a very famous soul food restaurant in Japan called Soul Food House.
Mhm.
It's really popular.
Yeah.
I got contacted by them. They said, "Oh, we see that you have the exhibit up at Blue Note Place. When it ends, do you have plans for the images?" I'm like, "No." Like, would you like to have an exhibit here afterwards? I'm like, "Absolutely." So the pictures will go there
Yes.
after the exhibit at the Blue Note Place.
Oh, outstanding. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Please
Thank
share
you.
pictures.
I will. I
Share.
absolutely will. I'm looking forward to sharing those
Yes.
pictures. The Blue Note Place is just an amazing venue. I've been to many of the Blue Notes. There's the one in New York, there's one in LA.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Tokyo, there's two.
Wow.
That's how much people love um, the blues, jazz, and soul here in
Yes.
Tokyo.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm looking forward to having an amazing event and sharing her love even here in Japan. Uh,
Sure.
she never made it to Japan.
Mhm.
She flew in the first part of her career, but toward I'm not sure when it happened, but she stopped flying. She had a fear of heights.
Okay.
Said it at
Yes.
some point. As
Yes.
a matter of fact, we couldn't even shoot in a studio that was on a high floor. She wouldn't.
Mhm.
She wouldn't come up.
Yeah.
So she loved hearing stories about Japan. When I first moved to Japan, she was upset with me, but then I'd bring her gifts from Japan, and she loved that.
All
And
right. Yes.
which is wonderful. It's funny.
Yeah. I find a very nice parallel between, okay, his photographs, Aretha music, but she was such a gift in so many other levels. I was so impressed that all the things I didn't know about the social aspect, the
Yes.
resonance, and then that you put also texture in the books. It's like layer upon layer, just like her life.
Yes, yes.
And
There's
the
so
resonance.
much to her. There's
Yeah.
so much that I've never experienced with anybody else that I
Mhm.
experienced with her.
Yes.
She was
Yes.
special in a way that a lot of people don't know. There's this depth to Aretha Franklin that I know that I want to share with the world.
Yes. That would be my last question. You have already hinted at your message to the world, but what would you like to see happen
Oh,
beyond the book? what would be the resonance that you would like to see?
It's funny though, whenever you do a project like this, you can't imagine what can happen, when it's out in the world. I think my duty right now is just to put it out in the world and hope that it grows from there. I would love for maybe a big museum to make a permanent exhibit of her, or maybe in the Smithsonian in DC, the African American Museum in DC, to maybe um, have a permit or limited edition exhibit there, to maybe even have the books there, just something special. I'd love for that to happen. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I was in LA for the week of the Oscar weekend.
Yes.
And met with a producer there talking about the book.
Mhm.
And she had an idea that kind of blew me away as well. So we'll see what happens with that. First thing first is getting the book out there, getting the book made. And then from there, sky's the limit. We'll see what happens.
That's what I have learned about these mission-driven, purpose-driven projects. No, it's like, okay, does it breathe? Does it resonate? But then someone takes it, like these producers, they just want, okay, let me take this to the next level. No?
I would love that.
Great.
That'd be fantastic. We'll see what happens with that, but I would love that to happen for sure. So,
fantastic.
fingers crossed. First is just getting the book out there, getting the book made, which I'm looking forward to. The publisher that I'm working with, I'm doing self-publishing, obviously. But the self-publishing unit that I'm working with, they do amazing, fine art books. They did the Michael Jackson This Is It book. They did the Paul McCartney collection. And these are special books. They're not like the average fine art book. They have many layers to them. And that's why I want to go with this publisher, because they do an incredible job. And that's what Aretha deserves.
Right. A moonshot of a project, but why not?
Yes, exactly. Why not?
Because it must. Fantastic.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you so much, Matthew. I'm very honored for your invitation, and I'm sure we can talk once the book is done.
I'd love that. I'd love more. That. Yes, I absolutely want to do that for sure. Thank you for having me on, and let me just talk a little bit about my love for Aretha.
Yes.
I've got so many stories which I'll have in the book, and just hopefully expand on the love for her, and people who know her music, who love her music, or people who don't even know her music, how they can discover her music, this new generation, and fall in love in a deeper way. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm glad that you're adding the video portion, because you have a great voice, great storytelling, and in the age of podcasts that continue to grow, this would be great.
That's true. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I can talk about Aretha forever. And I just have so many great stories. I think it'd be an injustice to not share them, especially after living through COVID. We all probably lost a lot of friends and family. And one lesson that I learned is you can't put things off because you don't know what tomorrow brings. And I'd planned to do this book before COVID, and then COVID happened and put the brakes on everything. And then now I'm like, okay, now is the time. While I had this window, let me do it before anything else crazy happens. Let me get this book out there in the world. And that's my duty now, to get the book out there in the world and share it.
Yes, fantastic. One of my favorite sayings is that you can be the light or the mirror that reflects it. Is a quote by Evelyn Waugh, a writer, but I encounter that is true, and it's very useful to feel like that,
Oh, I love that. I love that.
So I think that this will be very enlightening to many people.
I hope so. I really do. Thank you so much. Thank you again.
Thank you, Matthew.